Hi everyone, Wismeril here. Today I want to give you an update on the build that I've been playing in the Abattoirs of Zir in order to speed farm my glyph, the Tears of Blood, the new glyph that is very strong, but that will be very long to level up. So in order to efficiently level up your glyph, you really need to have a very optimized build, the one that I'm going to show you in a few minutes that I changed compared to the one I shared yesterday. And you need to have a clean head on what tier of Abattoir of Zir you need to target in order to speed farm efficiently and have the best ratio between time spent in a run, amount of powder spent on a key, and glyph experience that you did get at the end of the run. So I'm going to explain all those things in this video. First, let me start off by saying that it's a delight to have those greater rifts coming to Diablo 4. I was a big enjoyer of the Greater Rift system in Diablo 3, and this one is exactly the same, well, having a few minor differences, on an updated game with very nice visual, very nice engine when it comes to fighting and stuff, so I just love it. I'm having a ball, no pun intended, with the ball lightning, and I'm really going to play that new Endgame system for the end of the season. Really, like I like what I see, I like how it feels, I like how it plays. You need to understand a few things, I think, to enjoy that new game mode. First, you have to understand that the new glyph, the Tears of Blood, is the Paragon system of Diablo 3. They imported the Paragon system of Diablo 3 and put it in Diablo 4 in the form of this new glyph, Tears of Blood. Why am I saying it this way? Well, guess what? I still have doubts that in the upcoming 7 weeks, I will be able to max out that glyph at level 200. Playing, I don't play all day every day. I have children and a wife and things to do, but I do spend a lot of time playing Diablo 4 and I do things in an optimized way, yet I believe I will not be able to level that glyph all the way to 200. The amount of XP, well, to put long story short, it will take a very long time just to level it up to rank 50, which will extend its range. So 50 to 200, Anyway, so that's one of the things you need to understand to enjoy it. For the rest, you're going to progress the bar by killing mobs. It's going to spawn pylons at specific thresholds of the progress bar. Those pylons, you can manipulate them to when you'll be pushing, when you speed farm, doesn't matter that much, but when pushing your tiers of the abattoir, you will have a reason to take that pylon at that moment, and that's what I liked to do in Diablo 3. In a build like Ball Lightning, I don't think there will be density manipulation like we used to do with area damage in Diablo 3, but if you were playing a build like maybe Firewall or something like that, and assuming it would be as strong as Ball Lightning, then density manipulation would also be a thing. Fishing will be a thing. Well, basically that's the Greater Rift system coming to Diablo 4. Pretty exciting stuff. Okay, let me tell you what I've been doing last night and this morning. So I've been tweaking my build here and there to really optimize everything to what I think is the most powerful way to speed farm as of now, with the other Unix I have, of course. More on that later. And once I had perfected the build to what was like the most optimal way to design it, I did a benchmark, which is doing, like I did in this run, 26 runs of, I will call it Greater Rift 1, but that's Abattoir of Zir tier 1, but hey, that's Greater Rift 1. I did that 26 times and took note of the timing I did, and the average for those runs, normally I would remove the best 2 and the worst 2, but I didn't do that here. I ended up with 2 minutes minutes 28 second average, and what I'm counting is the start of a run here until when I spend the experience on a glyph at the end of the run, and once I level the glyph, I end the timer. That's what I've been measuring. So far, the average on a Greater Rift 1 is 2 minutes 28 seconds. What I will be doing Thursday, Friday, Monday and Tuesday, 8 hours a day, from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. my time, is to do the same with Greater Rift 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, until I identify for this build that I'm going to show you the breakpoints, like the most optimized tier of Greater Rift that you want to be playing. Because hey, if you don't have as much time as I have, like you have a work, children and wife, maybe you only get to play an hour or an hour and a half after work. When you come back home, that's what you will play per day. So I'm pretty sure you'll be happy to know what's the most optimal way to speed farm your glyph in order to at least level it up to 50 and then try pushing when your glyph is level 50. So that's what I'm gonna be doing this week and next week and the coming weeks after that, and I'm going to share the results on the channel. So that's what you can expect to find over there. Let's talk about the build. So I did share yesterday the build that I assembled day one for my first Abattoir of Zir. Now that I got to play it for hours, I have a better understanding of the strength and weaknesses of the build, and I did tweak it to what I believe is the most optimal way to play it right now. I'll be assuming that you have a Shaco, but if you don't, the backup, the replacement will be this. I don't have the Varian. I'm pretty sad, even though I really did kill Duriel a bunch. I didn't loot that, so this is super strong. It's definitely needed for pushing. For speed farming, maybe yes, maybe no. I don't have it, I can't tell you, but I'll be doing some Duriel runs here and there, and I'll try to get my hands on this weapon because I think it's really mandatory to have that in the Abattoir of Zir. So anyway, there will be two versions, one with Shaco or one with this helm, which is the replacement and does the job perfectly. Let's start with the Vampiric powers, because I think that's an interesting way to get started. The mandatory ones, the usual suspects, are Ravenous, Prey on the Weak. Prey on the Weak is additive, not multiplicative, but still it's best in slot over there because having a Vampiric Curse on an enemy makes it vulnerable, so it's a no-brainer. So you want those two. To make enemies vulnerable, to apply a Vampiric Curse, you have two options: a Cursed Touch or a Metamorphosis. Well, guess what? The best one is Accursed Touch, because you don't have to do anything. By just fighting, you will spread the Vampiric Curse and make them vulnerable. If you play Metamorphosis, the annoying thing is you have to dash through enemies, and guess what? You're going to waste time doing that. It's your runs will be faster, your clear time will be faster if you don't think about, hey, I have to dash through this and then I have to dash over there and over here. If you just move forward, kill things, move forward, kill things, guess what? Your clear time is a lot faster. So Accursed Touch is best in slot, in my opinion. So those three, that's what you want to have. The Infection one is very good because it scales the multiplier of the Tal Rasha loop to 60%, from 45 to 60%, because you will be dealing poison damage. And the single target damage of Infection is pretty good. If you attack 8 times an enemy, spoiler alert, Ball Lightning attacks 10 times, ticks 10 times per second. So this is very easy to proc, especially on a single target. You're going to deal 70% poison damage. And we do scale very well our non-physical damage in the build. So we do scale decently this Vampiric power. So it is definitely best in slot. For number 5, my shortlist was including either resilience or domination. Domination is another damage multiplier of 24% against stunned enemies, which is nice. And it has this execute thing that we already have on lucky hits. So this one sounds pretty good. But guess what? Not dying is very important in the Abattoir of Zir in order to speed farm. If you die once, you just wasted, I don't know, 1 minute, 2 minutes of your time, and it's going to heavily impact the glyph experience per hour that you are doing. So in my book, it is more important to not die, and this vampiric power is life-saving. When you take a hit that puts you to 30% life, this vampiric power ensures that the next hit is not going to kill you. It is very strong. So this is superior for speed farming purposes to domination. Domination is the one I intend to be playing when I will be pushing Greater Rifts. Abattoir of Zir, but Greater Rifts. But now really that's the one you want to be using. Right, next let's talk about the skill tree. The skill tree very little changed. In the speed farming, I still recommend to be playing Vir's Mastery over Azus Ferocity. For those who don't know, Azus Ferocity is bugged. It's not only fire critical strike damage, which is multiplied by 25%, it's any damage of the sorcerer. Lightning also works. And the 15% multiplicative damage of Vir's Mastery doesn't work. Hello Blizzard. Anyway, so this deals more damage, but this reduces the damage you take. So while your Tears of Blood Glyph is not leveled up to beyond 50, I still recommend that you stick to Vir's Mastery. And then when you scale the damage reduction from burning enemies by leveling up the Tears of Blood, that's the time I will be thinking to change Vir's Mastery to Azus Ferocity. So for now, Vir's Mastery, to make sure, once again, you're not dying. Dying sucks. It will really lower your Glyph XP per hour. Electrocution to reduce incoming damage. Everything else is the same. This for mana, this is the usual suspects. All those 9 over here are very important. It prevents you from dying. You want those 9. This Ice Blade is for the cold damage. We have poison with the vampiric power, we have cold over there, we have fire with the firebolt enchantment, and we have lightning with bolt lightning. So you want to pop that at the beginning of your run, and then since you're fighting all the time in an Abattoir of Zir, it's constant fighting, especially when speed farming, so just pop it once at the beginning of the rift, and then pop it when you will spawn the boss. Because when those 3 bosses spawn, this I think elapses, and you have to spawn it again before attacking the bosses. This one over here, this does a huge amount of work. The lightning spear stunning enemies. And I'll talk more about that when we touch base on your critical strike chance. But for now, this is having this on your bar versus having a flame shield. This does a better job at protecting you, because this lasts like 2.5 seconds on a 20 seconds cooldown, while this one has a lower cooldown or similar cooldown, I'm not too sure, but you cast them when you pop unstable currents, and when this is on cooldown you can manually cast them, and it does a very good job at stunning enemies all around the place. You want teleport, mobility, speed farming. For pushing, I think I would replace teleport by flame shield, but now we're speed farming, so that's what we want. The 3 points in glass cannon, I prefer to have them over there in elemental dominance. The damage multiplier is only 9% compared to 18%, but you're not multiplying the damage you take by 9%, which in my book, once again, you don't want to die, and I'm going to remember the sweet spot for GR tier, and you don't want to die when you'll be doing that, because I'll scale a little bit the difficulty as I go higher and higher. Chain lightning enchantment along recharging ring is the best way on a speed farming setup to generate mana along with the crackling energy from invigorating conduits. You want that. It makes it so brainless. You just shoot ball lightning at people and move forward, and you don't have to think about anything else. Trust me, that's the best setup. You don't want to be running anything else, really. This is really convenient, a convenient way to play. Those ones for the extra 3% on resistances, very important, somehow important, and your enchantment. So not much changed over here. I think from the build, from yesterday's build, I changed the 3 points in precision magic and moved them over here to elemental dominance. Let's talk about the Paragon board, because this changed quite a bit. The starter board and the enchantment master board offer really good what's it called again? Non-physical damage and all resistance. You see, I'm capping my all resistance without a single all resistance roll on gear and without a single damage reduction specific, I mean resistance specific gem in the jewelry. You can achieve that with only the Paragon board. This is going to be 78% in combat. No, we don't have a fire spell, sorry. 75% fire resistance, 78 lightning, 73 cold, 73 poison, no, sorry, 70 poison, 70 shadow. And I'm achieving that with just this setup on the starter board and the enchantment master. The second board is very interesting. Burning Instinct, that's where you're going to put your glyph, Tears of Blood, because we want to scale the damage reduction from burning enemies. This is very important. If you would solely want to scale the damage multiplier, you wouldn't put it in Burning Instinct, you wouldn't put it in Static Surge. But that's not what we're doing. Not dying is important, and scaling this will allow you at some point to replace this very defensive amulet to a very offensive one. But first, you need to level up your glyph in order to scale your damage reduction from burning. So you need to put all the points over here. When your glyph is from level 1 to 49, the range is less than that. So you're actually going to have those 1, 2, 3, 4 points that you don't have now, but once you reach level 50, you want to put them over here. I will share the link with a level 50 plus glyph. A quick word on Curler. This is very good. Bypassing the remaining 35% life on non-elite on trash mobs is very useful, because remember, Ball Lightning is a single target spell. So if you kill the trash mob bypassing 35% of their life, more ticks of Ball Lightning will go elsewhere. Elsewhere, where is that where? Well, it's surrounding elites or any other enemy. So this executing trash mobs below 35% health is very, very strong. That's why you want to have those 35% from the Paragon board with 15%, up to 15% on your weapon. Therefore, you have 50% that's additive, lucky hit chance to execute. I mean, to execute on a lucky hit. That's very strong. And you also get to cap out your attack speed, one of the buckets of the attack speed, because those 3 nodes over here are 5% bonus attack speed, plus 15% from the gloves, that's 20, plus 80% from the Ravenous Vampiric Power, that's 100. And guess what? This first bucket from Vampiric Powers, Gear and Paragon caps at 100. So if you have the perfect roll over here, 15 over 15, congratulations, you just capped out your attack speed, bonus attack speed bucket number 1. Quick word, just watch the previous videos if you want more insight on that, but the 10 ticks per second on Ball Lightning are achieved when you reach around 31% bonus attack speed. So by just equipping that and not doing anything, I mean proccing it with a lucky hit obviously, but if you just have that, you're going to have 10 ticks per second on every Ball Lightning. If you reach the 100% cap, it means that you are unlimited in mana. You have infinite mana. Look at that. I'm rarely going under 100 mana. So let's say you have unlimited mana. So capping your attack speed will allow you to have those nice ball lightning belts around you, a lot of them, and that deals a lot of damage. And it's very convenient because they are all over the place, so you don't have to think about positioning yourself. You're speed farming, remember, you don't want to think about too many things. You want to watch your Netflix series or listen to music or do something else while you put some juice inside that glyph. So this set of magic and rare nodes, very, very good. I wouldn't remove them. They are very good. This setup is very optimized. Starter board, Burning Instinct board, and Enchantment Master. Enchantment Master, this glyph reinforced, will allow you to scale further your resistance to all elements in order to reach the cap at 75 and blah blah blah, you know, story. And this one gives you 15% damage reduction while you have a barrier. Remember, you don't want to be dying, and this helps a lot while you speed farm. You're scaling also the non-physical damage, which double dips. It double dips because it goes in the additive bucket of your damage, and it scales your Frigid Fate damage multiplier. See, the maximum is 30. We can scale it all the way to 29 by running this setup. And remember, non-physical damage is also poison damage from one of your vampiric powers. So this over here is a very optimized way to do things. A quick word on Enchantment Master. Yesterday in my build, I included it because I didn't make the breakpoint calculations on mana cost reduction. Now I did, and funnily enough, this breakpoint here doesn't want you to have too much mana cost reduction. You want to have 33% or less mana cost reduction. Why? Ball Lightning costs 50 mana. If you have 34 mana cost reduction, Ball Lightning will cost 33 mana. 33 times 3 equals 99 mana, and your Chain Lightning enchantment is very sad because it triggers at 100. So you're just 1 mana short to trigger a Chain Lightning cast every 3 casts of Ball Lightning. That's sad, isn't it? Well, guess what? If you have 33% instead of 34%, the mana cost of Ball Lightning is 33.5 times 3, that's 100.5 mana, and now we have a happy camper over there. Your Chain Lightning will trigger every 3 casts of Ball Lightning, not every 4. So that is very optimized in terms of mana generation and being full mana, triggering a lot of stuff in this build. So if somehow you have too much mana cost reduction, you might want to go all the way to Enchantment Master, because then this will trigger at 80 mana, and even if you're capped out at 38.5 or 0.3% mana cost reduction, this will work. So that's for the Enchantment Master. Now remember something that I have to tell you. If your gear, the eye level of your amulet and rings are not max, then by running this setup, you will not max out on your resistances. So there are a few points that you can put back. 2 over here, 1, 2, that's 1.5% resistance to all elements, and 1 point over there, and you just gain 3% resistance to all elements. But if you're maxed out, you don't need to do that. Adapt the gear. I would remove those points, 1, 2, lightning damage, and where are the other ones? 1 damage to burning. That's what I would remove. So that's 3 points, and you can put those 3 points over here, 1, 2, 3, and that's how you get more resistance to all elements. Anyway, when your glyph is going to be level 50, you will have to put those 1, 2, 3, and there's even a 4th point that I did put somewhere that you will have to remove in order to scale this glyph all the way to its maximum capacity. But for now they are over here. So that's it for the Enchantment Master board. Here, the Ceaseless Conduit. So I'm not too sure yet if it's best to run Destruction or Control. Control has a 1.2 multiplier, Destruction only has 1.12, but Destruction has more additive damage, 194, while Control has 145. So I still think Destruction is best in slot because there are times where enemies are not stunned. So I think Destruction is better, so that's why I leave it as default, but just know that maybe Control is better. I will test and I will give you some feedback on the channel. Then we have the Static Surge. We're running the Territorial Glyph because that's another glyph that gives you 15% damage reduction against close enemies. Remember, dying really sucks. And of course you want the Static Surge Legendary node because it goes so well with the Chain Lightning enchantment, Recharging Ring. This one gives you mana back, scaling with your max mana. And we do need to scale our max mana anyway because we want 40% increase critical strike chance on Ball Lightning and Chain Lightning. Wait, I think Chain Lightning is not concerned by that. But we want to be casting Ball Lightning when we have more than 100 mana, because then we will cap out at 100% crit chance. More on that later. So that's why we have those rare and magic nodes over there. Maximum mana from the paralyzing node. And over here, that's what I modified. Yesterday, I removed that to allocate the points elsewhere. Well, guess what? Having another 29% damage multiplier is pretty sweet. So that's now what I think, for now, is the best way to speed farm the Abattoirs of Zir. You just need to copy-paste this setup. It is very, very good. Let's finish off with the gear. So for the gear, if you have the Shaco, it's best in slot. Otherwise, use this helm that is going to replace the 20% damage reduction with a shield when you damage an elite. You will have when you have this, you have more maximum mana and some armor that you don't get to have with Shaco. But Shaco is best in slot. So those two options are very good. Shaco is slightly better in terms of damage and survivability. For the, well, you'll just look at the rolls, but this is very defensive. You want your armor, you don't need your armor to go all the way to 14,000 because you will be facing enemies level 160. This is only for Abattoir of Zir tier 25. You'll be speed farming somewhere between tier 1 to tier 10. So the max level of enemy is going to be under control. I think it's less than 157. So if you're rolling with 13,000 armor, you're good to go. You don't need to try harder than that. So that's why I put the disobedience on the chest armor instead of putting it on the amulet. It was just fine. You'll be having 85% damage reduction from physical damage by just running this setup. Gravitational. Intelligence and all stat are better. All stat translates into more intelligence, but also more strength, i.e. more armor and stuff. So those two last rolls are best in slot. I was first thinking to do it this way, but this is only for pushing when we're going to replace the Chain Lightning enchantment with Ball Lightning enchantment. For now, those are the best in slot rolls, which I do have everything there. The runs that you see me doing is using this exact setup. Same rolls, it's just the values are not maxed out everywhere. Gravitational, of course. Over here, damage mitigation, ranks to Ball Lightning, armor. You want damage mitigation from distance and close if possible. Or you can have burning instead of one of those, but it's better to have those. They roll with higher value. Now the boots. I love those boots. For a while, I was wondering, is it Flicker Step or is it Asus Heirloom? It is Asus Heirloom. The best thing about those boots is the prefix. Evade grants 75% movement speed for 3 seconds, while on regular boots, it's only 2 seconds. When you evade, you're going to get 75% movement speed plus the 25% movement speed you need to have as a roll on those boots equals 100% bonus movement speed. Your total movement speed is going to be 200. By just doing an evade you can only do it every 4 seconds because the cooldown of evade is 4 seconds, but then 3 seconds out of those 4, you will be capped out, you will be at 100% movement attack speed, like I said, you are capping out on the first bucket, and you will be gaining 30% critical strike chance, additive that is. And this is very good because guess what? You're not going to have the max roll on critical strike chance on your gear, so you're not going to have 43%. Let's say you have 30% instead of 43. 30% plus those 30%, that's 60, plus those 40% when you cast your ball lightning at more than 100 mana, that's 100% critical strike chance. It's only going to be yellow numbers. Look at that. Yellow numbers all over the place. I like that. So it's not only for the damage that I'm doing that, but for a few more synergies, like resetting your one of your cooldown over there, activating some damage mitigation when you crit with Vir's Mastery, Electrocution. There are a few things here and there, making sure that this is always capped. But basta. There's a lot of different reasons why it's very sweet to be capped out at 100% on critical strike chance on ball lightning. And the thing about those boots is if you're not running them, the critical strike chance of lightning spear is going to be too low to stun enemies, to reliably stun, like to more or less always stun enemies, because the elementalist power doesn't benefit lightning spear. So 30 plus the 30 we were talking about is 60. The initial critical strike chance of lightning spear on cast will be 60%. If it crits once, it gains plus 5% increased stacking critical strike chance, so 65. And then it crits again, 70. And then it crits again, 75. And it's going to scale all the way to 100. That's the best way to ensure that your lightning spears are going to stun things all over the place. Those boots are very, very good, and I would not replace them with Flicker Step. You don't really need to have more uptime on your ultimate. You want the ultimate when you kill the bosses at the end of the run. That's the only time where it truly matters, because for the rest, you're just speed farming the run. I would recommend popping Unstable Current when you're below half of the progression, and when you get past half the progression, that's the time you don't want to pop Unstable Current. You want to keep it for the bosses at the end, because it's going to make a big difference on the clear time. When you kill the bosses with Unstable Current, it's a lot longer when you don't have it up, right? So that's for this. Dagger is better than Wand, because you don't really need the extra lucky hit chance on the wand or on your gloves. Ball lightning is ticking 10 times a second, and you have a full belt of those around you. So even though the lucky hit chance is pretty low on ball lightning, lucky hits are going to proc all over the place. You're going to execute those enemies with a lucky 50% chance on a lucky hit. Don't worry, it works very fine. And you have enough lucky hit procs to synergize everything else you have in the build. That's about it. And then for this, well, that's the typical speed farming setup with cooldown reduction, crit chance, mana cost, resource gen. This is unique. You don't control what it rolls. And on the ring, you really want to have max mana. It helps a lot. Resource gen, crit chance. And I like to have maximum life as the last roll, because as you can see over there, we have more than 15,000 maximum life. This is the only random part, because you won't roll it at maximum value, most likely, but for the rest, this one always rolls at max value. So you can expect to have more than 15,000 life in this build. Again, dying sucks. You don't care at all about the prefix here, whichever resistance it is, because you're capping all your resistance with your Paragon board, so this doesn't matter. And finally, the amulet. So here's the approach I'm going for. Until I level up my glyph beyond 50, I will keep this very defensive amulet. And once it is beyond 50, I will benefit from a lot more damage reduction from burning enemies from this node, Smoldering Embers. And that's the time I will change this amulet for something very conservative, very defensive, to something very, it's not going to be fire resistance, very offensive, very strong damage. It's going to scale your damage. More ranks to Devouring Blaze is scaling a multiplier. More ranks to Mastery Skill is scaling a multiplier on your Ball Lightning spell. A % increase on intelligence is scaling your main stat multiplier. This is not a flat value. Your intelligence is multiplied in this example by 1.109. So it's scaling another multiplier, the one you get from your core skill. And you want to keep mana cost reduction, whichever amulet you have, and you want to make sure that you're not going over 33% mana cost reduction. That's it for the build. I will try to keep this video low, even though per YouTube standard this is pretty long. I'm sorry guys, I like to explain things in details. Here's the build that I'm going to be playing every Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday from 9 AM to 6 PM. And I'm going to compute stats that I used to do in Diablo 3. That's how I like to do things, statistics, you know, build planning, theory crafting and stuff. And I'll feed you guys intel on what is the sweet spot to level that glyph as fast as possible, because guess what? You can try to push today, push your Abattoir of Zir tier. But you know what? You'll be trying super hard to do maybe a 14, and after you level that thing to somewhere between 50 and 100, maybe you'll be trying hard between 20 to 25 for the tier of the Abattoir. I don't know the multiplier of the HP pool of monsters for each tier yet. But you get the idea, right? For now, I think you need to be leveling that thing up, and once it is, you can start pushing testing the limits of the build and your abilities to push the Abattoir of Zir. Anyway, this was Wismeril signing off. I really wish you enjoy the Abattoir of Zir. I'm having a ball and I wish you too. I'll see you in the next video. Have a great day, guys.